Guys, it's finally happened. After weeks of James Harden being a pain in the butt to the Houston Rockets, requesting a trade in the offseason, and having a huge roller coaster with the Houston Rockets organization, he has finally been traded. And he's been traded to the Brooklyn Nets, one of the top destinations that's been in talks for James Harden potentially, and it's finally come true here as he is going to be going to Brooklyn and forming a big three with Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and himself. This is obviously an incredible blockbuster deal, and it was broken a few minutes ago by Shams, and he's reporting that the Nets are sending the other way 4 first-round picks and 4 pick swaps to the Houston Rockets. James Harden is literally the only player being involved in this trade, but that is a really big haul for the Houston Rockets, literally getting 4 picks and 4 pick swaps, potentially 8 different draft picks in total. And yes, James Harden, who is a top 10 player in the league, we all know what he's about, probably the best scorer in the league, is going to be going to a place with a player that is even better than him in Kevin Durant, and another ball dominant player in Kyrie Irving, and they're going to be forming a big three and really probably become one of the big championship favorites with this trade. So in this video, I'm going to be briefly going through what this means for both teams and how it's an incredible blockbuster trade and one of the biggest trades that we've seen happen in a while. So let's start by talking about the Brooklyn Nets. I have no clue where to start with this team. They've been through so many interesting things over the last few days. They got off to an incredible start to the season, but now they're sitting here at 5-6 after being thought of as one of the biggest favorites in the league, and maybe the favorite coming out of the East from a lot of fans around the league, with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving coming back. But as we know, they've gone through lots of things with Kyrie Irving missing many games because of personal reasons. And then yesterday he was spotted in a public setting without wearing a mask, and people are thinking that he's now going to have to quarantine, and really he's not going to be back with the Nets, in my opinion, in a long time. So they're now left with Kevin Durant, and as I mentioned, they're 5-6 and going through a bit of a rough patch in the season early on, but now they've really sacrificed their future to go all in now. As I mentioned, they've given up 4 first-round picks and 4 pick swaps to the Rockets just to get James Harden, and it's going to be interesting to see if they sign him long-term as well, either now or in the future, but I just can't wait to see how this works out on the court. We haven't seen Harden with 2 other stars since his days in OKC when he was playing as a 6th man with Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. And I'm really wondering if he's going to go back to a role where he's playing like that. I mean, if he's playing with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, I'm definitely not thinking that he's going to be isolating a lot of plays, doing his dribble moves, taking step backs, and playing that the way that he's been playing over the last few years. And the fact that he wanted this trade too says to me that he's willing to take a step back with his play style and really go for a championship. This is going to be a very interesting situation, not only with James Harden and what he's been doing over the last few days, going to the strip club many times without a mask, and Kyrie Irving doing the same thing, but I hope both of them buy into this because this team is really something special now on paper with 3 superstars on the team. Like I mentioned, it's going to be really interesting to see what Harden does with his playstyle, if he's willing to take a step back, and really how legit of a championship contender this Brooklyn Nets team can be. So now let's look at the Rockets side of things. They've had a bit of a rough start to the season as well, going 3-6, but a huge bright spot for them has been John Wall coming back from his Achilles injury and really playing at a high level, coming back from his massive injury that he's missed 2 years with. And Christian Wood, who is continuing to break out, probably the favorite for the most improved player, and you guys know how high I am on him. He's an incredible overall player that can score inside the post, inside the paint. He's starting to stretch it out to 3. He's a good defender as well at times, a very good rebounder and shot blocker, and really a fantastic overall player that I see them now building their franchise around him and rebuilding around him, and potentially John Wall getting all these picks and starting from scratch, but starting in a good position. I think this is all the best for the Rockets because they've been trying for years now to win a championship with James Harden as their core player, but it hasn't worked out, and it is really time for them to restart and rebuild. As you guys know, if you watch my channel, I made a video a couple of days ago about why I think Christian Wood might be what it takes to keep James Harden in Houston, and while that hasn't happened, Christian Wood is the guy that is really going to be taking over this franchise now as the main guy. And like I said, restarting and refreshing for the Rockets is just what they need, and all of these picks and pick swaps are going to come in handy for that. They're really taking the Thunder route of things now with getting all these picks, but they just have a better place to start with, as I mentioned, John Wall, Christian Wood on the team, who's going to be there for the next 3 years as well. He could sign even longer term, and a decent supporting cast. So I think this future for the Rockets team is pretty good, and I think they're doing the right thing in this trade. So overall, I think this is a win-win trade for both teams. As I mentioned, it's going to be extremely interesting to see how James Harden fits in with the Nets, and interesting to see how the Rockets do with their rebuild here. This is an incredible blockbuster trade. As I mentioned, the news was reported from Shams a couple minutes ago as I recorded this. So there you have it. That's the huge news of the day. The blockbuster trade, James Harden going to the Knicks for 4 first-round picks and 4 pick swaps. Leave in the comments what you think of this trade, what you think it means for both teams, and what you think it means for James Harden. Thank you all for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new so you don't miss out on any of my new basketball videos, and I'll see you guys next video.